principal placed on leave because, well, they decided to not engage, no discipline, no action against racism. Put it up full mass. We've talked about how inaction is an action when your responsibility is to protect students. Finally, we are seeing actual accountability applied to that notion. Students have become increasingly disappointed after a Maryland high school delays action over shocking racist incidents just months after the N-word was printed 1,000 times. A recent racist incident set off a collective call from students to address the anti-Black racism that has afflicted the school for months. The Montgomery County Public School District reported that the N-word was written on a student's desk at Thomas S. Wootton High School. This is in Rockville, happened on December 3rd. There's more. Two of the school's Black student union leaders told MoCo 360, that the student whose desk was targeted reported the incident in writing to a teacher, put it in writing. However, the teacher never reported that incident to the administrators. The victim's mother followed up with the school, however, which triggered an investigation. But it wasn't until Black student leaders, along with several of their peers, wrote a letter to the administration and spoke publicly at a pep rally about the incident that officials finally addressed what happened. It is now Thursday, December 5th, and the general student body has received nothing but radio silence. The students' letter said, when swastikas are drawn on the art tables, the police are called. The superintendent gives a message. News station give multiple reports, etc. For every instance, the principal has sent a community message on the day of the incident. Appropriate action can not only be taken for white and white adjacent students. A note was sent to the school community on December 6th, confirming an anti-Black racist hate and bias incident occurred at the school. Then school district officials sent an email to parents on December 8th, apologizing for the delay in reporting the incident, adding that the response was, quote, not up to our expectations, end quote. The incident comes 7 months after another act of racism at the same school, in which a student printed the N-word 1,000 times on 1,000 sheets of paper. Black student leaders said the school also put off notifying parents about that act. So the Black students reported that they have tried working with school leadership to address administrators' inadequate response to racist incidents for more than a year. So before I zoom into the principal, understand these students have been more responsible than the non-responsive principal. That is my holistic opinion. These students not only engaged properly, they provided incident and put it in writing, not just conversations. When that did not create an appropriate response, they then sought remedy with their parents, as they should. The parents then contacted the institution, put it in writing. Once again, no action. They tried the model for a year. 2023. In 2023, the students sent an action plan to the principal, Principal Nelson, and the administration with proposed measures to reform the school's, quote, cultural and societal environment, end quote. This prompted discussions with school leaders, but no significant actions, the students said. Black students have also complained to the school board, and several schools held anti-racist rallies in October. I want to say this before I get into the response of the district. These are remarkable students. These students, thankfully, will be our future leaders. To the students, you are demonstrating why it's so important for you all to be our next leaders. You're thoughtful, you're kind, you care about diversity, you will engage with intent and diplomacy. But when it comes down to inaction of others, you are willing to echo the loudest. And that is important too. So a statement from the school district says the school district said they recently met with key student advocates who outlined their concerns and strategies to help frame an action plan that will be considered part of a plan the district develops. Quote, the delay in the reporting and response to this incident only caused further harm to the Black students, staff, and community, and left feelings of being unwelcomed and unsafe. And that Wootton is not a school where they have a sense of belonging. MCPS Superintendent Thomas Taylor and Chief of Schools Dr. Peter O. Moran wrote in a joint letter to parents. Put up the principal. Principal Douglas Nelson has now been placed on administrative leave, and an interim principal will take over his duties for the time being. This is because they decided, or he decided, not to respond accordingly to students who were more than appropriate in addressing the matter. All right, Sharon, we've seen this on the other side where administrators do nothing, students engage, students get bullied, and then horror, disaster happens. Even some students attempt to unalive themselves because of the bullying, et cetera. Now you have an engaged body, you have an active student organization, and this student organization, they have allies with other students and their parents, and now the administrator, the chief administrator, principal has been placed on leave. What say you?
And they can go ahead and get rid of him permanently. Yeah. I don't know what kind of guidelines or union or whatever else, but he's got to go. You're right about the future leaders. There's an assault and discourse that permeates our world. Kids can't escape it. And yeah, oftentimes, too often, we should say, that they do try to unalive themselves or even others. We're seeing that as well. They don't have the tools, but these kids have more tools and apparently more sense, because Dr. Richey, this is not a difficult issue. It's not.
Right.
Just follow the protocols that you, districts, schools put in place. And I don't know why they won't do that, particularly when Black and brown kids are involved.
Yep, there you go. Just treat it like any other bullying, right? That's real simple.